Some would argue the early 2000s had some of the most iconic sports cars of all time, with America bringing its brute force approach to the Europeans, British stiff upper lip, Italian flamboyance and flair, and the Germans' faultless engineering. 12 new cars have now been added into Automobilista 2, and this weekend I've given them a go. Hello, I'm Droop Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and I love Automobilista 2. I've said for the longest time it is the best simulator on the market. And 2 new DLCs have dropped, bringing 12 new cars and 3 new circuits. I say new, they're all from the early 2000s. This adds the cars into 5 categories in the game, and I'm going to be going through them in this video in order. LMP1, LMP2, GTR, GT1 and GT2. So, starting off with LMP1, the pinnacle of endurance and sports car racing in the 2000s. There are 3 cars in this category: the Audi R8 that you can see on screen now, the Courage C60 and the Dallara SP1. Now, by far and away, the most successful of the cars in this category is the Audi, having won Le Mans 5 times. From 2000 to 2005, Audi won Le Mans on every occasion, being beaten in only 2003 by Bentley, which was based on an R8. The car is super fun to drive, big torquey engine, decent amount of aerodynamical grip, absolutely the pinnacle of its time. These cars feel incredibly raw, you can hear everything working underneath you, the little rattles and squeaks as you're going around the circuit. For the majority of the time, the cars feel fairly planted, especially through the medium to high speed corners. The C60 that I'm in does have a little bit more understeer than the others, but a boot full of throttle does soon solve that. Compared to modern standards, these cars would be pretty terrible, but at the time they were absolutely peak of performance, and they do like to remind you that they are 20 years old, because if you get the line a little bit wrong, just clip a little curb, it can get awfully sketchy. Moving on now to the LMP2 category that has been added, and the Lola BO540. So the Lola comes as both the V8 and turbo variants, a category down from the LMP1, so a little bit less technical, a little less aerodynamics, but still handfuls of power. This particular car also comes with some quite interesting camera placements. But let's focus on the driving. The car still feels very raw, much like the LMP1s, but with a touch less grip. Very easy to light up those rear tyres, which for me, I actually quite enjoy. I don't like a car that is planted to the ground. I like to feel it move underneath me and tell me as a driver what the car's doing. Now, I've never been a massive fan of LMP cars. I've always much more preferred single-seaters like F1 or touring cars, which is where the next category kind of leans towards. GTR. Back in closed cockpit now, and in a car resembling something you'd find on the road. With a 4-litre V8, the M3 GTR is a powerhouse of German engineering. Having won the American Le Mans Series in 2001, the Nürburgring 24-hour in 2004 and 5, and appeared in games like Gran Turismo 4, and having variants of the car in Need for Speed Most Wanted, the car is loved by motorsport fans the world over. The car feels nimble and light, with massive amounts of power coming from that V8, but the best part of the car is the brakes. It stops like nothing else in this update. One of the things I love about AMS2 is the force feedback, how intuitive it is, and how you can feel everything that the car's doing. It just allows you to jump in and immediately drive the car somewhere close to the limit. And you get that in this BMW. You can feel the car moving around on the surface. You can feel, as you put the power down from that massive V8, that the tyres are struggling. I really enjoyed driving this BMW, and maybe with some more content coming in the future, potentially some DTM cars, this would make fantastic racing. But talking of fantastic, let's jump into the GT1. With 4 cars added in this category: the Aston Martin DBR9, the Corvette C5R, the Maserati MC12, and this, the Viper GTS-R. Unlike modern GT3 cars, there's not copious amounts of downforce, so with the massive amounts of power coming from these cars, they are quite a bit of a handful. The American cars feeling very heavy and a little bit unresponsive, but with huge amounts of power underneath that right foot. The Corvette that we're in here really struggling with those bumps around Sebring. The Viper for myself being the more controllable of the 2 American cars in this category, and a complete opposite of what we have from the European selection. The Maserati and the Aston Martin just immediately feeling more alive on track, more responsive, and can turn in that little bit quicker. The DBR9 is actually my favourite car from the entire update, and it has nothing to do with looks or physics. It's that engine tone. I would quite happily listen to that all day long. Now, these cars are a challenge to drive, but they are so rewarding and so fun to take out on track, even just hot lapping like I am in this video. That leaves us with one final category, of which is 2 cars, the Porsche 996 RSR and a free car. Now, I found these 2 cars the easiest to drive out of the cars in the update. Being in GT2, they are the slowest category in the update. Comparing the GT2 cars to GT1 is like a cup car compared to a GT3 nowadays. Now, the free car in this update is a Milano GT36. Definitely not a Ferrari, not a Ferrari. It is, however, very fun to drive, takes curbs incredibly well, really smooth and really well balanced. The Porsche is all these things as well, really balanced and really fun to drive. But with the engine right at the back, you do have to be mindful of the weight transfer in this thing, because it will bite you. Some of you eagle-eyed folk may have noticed I've been driving era-appropriate locations, showcasing the 2005 versions of Le Mans, Spa-Francorchamps and Road Atlanta. Now, this is something AMS does beautifully. It gives you cars from the past and era-appropriate circuits to race them in. So that is my conclusion of the latest update for AMS 2. Let me know down below if you've tried it and what you think of the new cars. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are new here, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and coming back for future content, either racing or real life, because I've got a little bit of selection of both. Have a fantastic day and keep plodding on.